After I quit my job and moved back home, my grandma set me up with a gig. I was supposed to babysit for a Mr. Johnston, who had just moved to our small town to recover from an illness. So there I was, showing up at his door with a bag of potatoes and pushing an old baby stroller. The door opened. A tall guy about my age looked down at me. "Who are you looking for?" "Wow. He's so young to have a grandson already." "Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm here to watch your grandson." He was silent for 3 seconds. "Watch me? I don't think I'll need the stroller." My old boss was making promises he couldn't keep, and I just couldn't stomach it anymore, so I quit and went back to my hometown. My timing couldn't have been worse. I arrived just in time for the harvest from my grandma's 2-acre potato farm. With a wave of her hand, she grabbed me with one arm and a basket with the other, rallied the day laborers she'd hired, and marched us all out to the fields to dig potatoes. I'm no delicate flower, I've got plenty of muscle. I drove the digging fork into the ground, and then I froze. I'd speared a potato. I tried again. Speared another one. They must be growing too close together. I was about to hide the evidence when my grandma grabbed me by the ear and hauled me out of the patch. "Oh, you silly goose. What in the world are you doing? You're poking holes in everything. Get out of here, go on, git." Halfway through my walk of shame, she called me back and offered me a job. Babysitting for the new arrival, Mr. Johnston's grandson. $4,000 a month, and meals are included. Becoming a nanny at my age? I'd be skipping decades on the career ladder. Sounded like a great gig, so I took it. As I left, my grandma packed me a bag of potatoes. I went home and dug out the old-fashioned stroller I used as a kid. I knocked on the door and waited. It swung open. "Hello, Mr. Johnston. I'm Hannah, Sarah's granddaughter. I'm here to watch your grandson." I beamed like a sunflower, but when I got a clear look at the person in front of me, I was dumbfounded. Where was the old Mr. Johnston I was expecting? Why was there a guy my age standing here? He was dressed casually, with a face so handsome it looked like it was carved from marble. If you ignored the "world owes me $1 billion" expression, he was almost distractingly good-looking. A thought struck me. It must be his great-grandson. My grandma got it wrong. The man's eyes flicked down to the vintage stroller I was pushing. "You're here for me." "Huh? And I don't need the stroller." I stood there, completely baffled for a solid 3 seconds, then hurried after him. "Wait, so you're Mr. Johnston's grandson?" "Nick." My grandma totally scammed me. How am I supposed to babysit a full-grown man? Before I could process it, he poured himself a glass of water. "I'm hungry. Make lunch." I didn't move. "Didn't my grandfather hire you to cook for me? The groceries are already here. Get to it." He raised an eyebrow, his gaze landing on the bag of potatoes in my hand. "Hold on, I need to make a call." I went out to the yard to call my grandma. It took her forever to pick up. "What? You don't want the job? Too bad. I already took the money. Besides, you're a great cook, aren't you? Just whip up a few meals for him." The truth is, I can barely cook. Every time my grandma called, she'd ask if I was ordering takeout again. To get her off my back, I'd brag about my amazing home-cooked meals, hyping up my culinary skills to the moon. Well, this is just great. I walked into the kitchen with a long face. Half an hour later, I brought out a bowl of boiled potatoes, all of them with little holes, and a side of dipping sauce. Meeting Nick's bewildered gaze, I forced a laugh. "Everything's better with a little spice, right?" "Thanks. I prefer sriracha." For dinner, I served a bowl of fried potatoes and cheerfully presented the sauce. "Your sriracha, sir." Nick looked completely exasperated but ate it anyway. He might act all cold and distant, but he was actually pretty easygoing. Just like the 2 big sows in my grandma's pig pen, he'd eat whatever you put in front of him. The next morning, when I served a plate of roasted potatoes, Nick finally cracked. "Is there anything else to eat?" I felt wronged. "You never gave me any grocery money. And you're acting like I haven't been eating the same 3 potato dishes with you." Nick was silent for a moment, then added me on WhatsApp and transferred me $30,000. The note said, "Living expenses." He clearly had no idea what things cost around here. The man was loaded and clueless. After buying groceries, I started learning how to cook from TikTok videos. Before long, I had 3 dishes and a soup on the table. I watched Nick expectantly as he took a bite. "So, how is it? What do you think?" If he hadn't kept eating without pause, I would have thought he was being sarcastic. I guess I really can do anything I set my mind to. I grabbed a bowl and chopsticks to join him. Ugh. I glanced at Nick, whose face was a blank mask. "Seriously? You really don't find this food completely inedible?" A second later, it hit me. I was his destined chef. The chosen one. I couldn't eat another bite, so I started making small talk. That's when I learned it wasn't Mr. Johnston who was here to recover from an illness, it was Nick. But as for what illness or how long he was staying, I had no idea, and I didn't dare ask. That night, my grandma and I were chatting while she watched TV. "You've been acting all weird around him." I barely say a word to the guy. I heard Nick had a girlfriend who left him. He took it hard, got all depressed, didn't want to live anymore, and even ended up in the hospital. He couldn't stay in the city, so he came here to get better. You keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. I don't want to have to explain anything to his grandfather. Poor Nick. That sounds rough. After washing up, I was about to head to bed when my phone rang. It was Nick. I answered immediately. He didn't say anything, but I could hear weak, labored breathing on the other end. "Nick? Did something happen?" I sprinted over to his house, unlocked the door, and flipped on the lights. Nick was curled up on the sofa, his face deathly pale. I panicked. "Hang in there, I'm calling 911. He grabbed my hand. On the table. It was his car keys. I helped him stumble outside. He was really sick, leaning most of his weight on me. Even in a moment like this, my brain had the audacity to think about how trim his waist was and how nice his butt looked. I almost wanted to give it a squeeze. I managed to get him into the back seat, started the car, and sped to the hospital. Food poisoning. He needed an 4 drip. Your boyfriend will be fine after the drip. Don't be so nervous. Just give him some warm water and be careful with his diet from now on, the nurse said. I was too preoccupied to correct her about Nick not being my boyfriend. After she left, I asked him, "You didn't eat anything else tonight, did you?" Nick gave me a look that screamed, "Do you really think I did?" My fault. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm not a very good cook. I just saw you eating without complaining and thought you actually liked it. My voice trailed off as I spoke. Your boyfriend is a lucky man. I'll go get you some hot water. I changed the subject. That jerk of an ex wasn't worth mentioning. When I got back, Nick was already asleep. Without the cold, distant expression he wore when he was awake, his face was ridiculously handsome. His eyelashes were so long and curled. How is that even possible? I leaned in closer to count them. Halfway through, the man below me suddenly opened his eyes. I jumped back in shock, but Nick shot his hand out and gripped my wrist tightly, his eyes still clouded with a defensive wariness. I stumbled and almost fell on top of him. Our eyes met, our breaths mingling. He smelled faintly of sandalwood. My face flushed, much to my embarrassment. 3 seconds later, he let go, looking irritated and gloomy. I rubbed my wrist. Do you want some water? No. His voice trembled with a lingering fear, and his forehead was beaded with cold sweat. Since I was the one who put him in the hospital, I felt a pang of guilt. I gently wiped the sweat from his brow, cooing as if to a child, "Don't be scared. You can go back to sleep. I won't leave." He stared at me for a long moment before slowly closing his eyes. Sigh. The poor guy. By the time the 4-drip was finished, it was already 3 a.m. After dropping Nick off, I yawned and started to head home. Just as I reached his gate, a loud clap of thunder echoed, and the sky opened up in a downpour. I immediately turned back. Nick was just coming out of his room. The umbrella is by the door. A bolt of lightning lit up the sky, making my heart jump. Then I heard Nick say, "Since you're not in a hurry, let's talk. I'm about to get fired." Honestly, I felt pretty guilty. "I'll transfer the money back to you. But please, don't tell my grandma just yet. If you can't cook, you can still do other things, right?" My eyes lit up. Like what? Pretend to be my girlfriend. Who are you trying to fool out here in the middle of nowhere? Sensing my confusion, Nick explained, "I might have visitors soon. I can do that, but the money. Double. Deal." This job was way easier than cooking. But let's get one thing straight. Nothing too crazy. We're talking hand-holding, and at most, one kiss. A faint smile appeared on Nick's usually expressionless face. You wish. After becoming Nick's fake girlfriend, my life turned into a cycle of eating and sleeping. He stopped asking me to cook, I just had to prep the ingredients. A guy who can cook that well probably learned for a girlfriend. Now I was the one reaping the benefits. In my free time, I took him all around town. In less than a week, he knew our little corner of the world like the back of his hand. I don't know what secrets he was hiding, but everywhere we went, he carried this listless, half-dead expression. So I decided to take him potato digging. He was a quick learner. He dug, and I gathered. My grandma was very pleased. When we left, she sent us off with a huge bag of potatoes each. I have to say, after a day of physical labor, Nick's appetite grew, and his spirits seemed much better than before. He even started talking more. Is your family short on money? Your grandma's getting on in years. Is it hard for her to manage so many potatoes? My grandma has her retirement pension. She just can't sit still and doesn't want to move to the city. If she loves planting, let her plant. She's great at taking care of herself. Didn't you see her today? She was just supervising and collecting the cash. What about you? Why did you come back? My eyes flickered. I missed the old lady. Nick clearly didn't buy it. I shot back, and you? Why'd you leave the city to come recover out here? I missed my family's old house. Just as he finished, there was a knock on the door. I got up to open it. A very fashionable woman in high heels and a short skirt stood there, clutching a Louis Vuitton bag. Her brow furrowed when she saw me. Who are you? What are you doing in Nick's house? Before I could answer, she brushed past me and rushed toward Nick, throwing her arms around him. Nick, expressionless, took a step back, effortlessly dodging her embrace. The woman nearly fell over. You're still mad at me for marrying your brother, aren't you? I couldn't help it. I was looking for you, but I went into the wrong room. Sister-in-law? With her brother-in-law? Oh my God. Am I really getting to hear this drama for free? I came looking for you as soon as I got the divorce papers. I know everything. You tortured yourself half to death over me and ran off to this godforsaken place to recover. You're seriously overthinking things. I have a girlfriend. If you're here for a visit, sister-in-law, you're welcome. If it's for anything else, please see yourself out. The woman froze, then turned to glare at me. Her? She looks like a bean sprout. I don't believe it. Well, thanks a lot. Nick glanced at me. Believe what you want. I was getting paid to do a job. I quickly moved to his side, and he wrapped an arm around my waist. I played my part perfectly. Hello, sister-in-law. She's a fake, isn't she? You're just trying to make me jealous, right? My mind spun, creating a whole soap opera of love and betrayal between them. I started to feel like getting involved was a bad idea. As I was hesitating, a voice smooth as silk whispered in my ear. Babe. Huh? I looked up, a shadow fell over my face, and Nick kissed me. Ah! A blood-curdling shriek. The woman started swinging her Louis Vuitton bag at me wildly. Nick pulled me behind him, taking all the hits. Have you had enough? The woman stopped, looking at him with a wounded expression. Haven't I told you not to look for me, not to bother me? She ran off. Nick's face was grim. Aren't you going after her? She doesn't know her way around here. Without a word, Nick turned and went back inside. Something was off. I was afraid the confrontation might have pushed him over the edge, so I went and knocked on his door. Nick, if you don't open this door, I'm breaking it down. Silence. I'm counting to 3. 1. 3. The door flew open unexpectedly. What happened to 2? I barreled into him like a battering ram, sending him sprawling on the floor with me on top. His warmth radiated through his thin shirt, and my palm instantly felt scorching hot. I couldn't resist giving his chest a little pat. Firm and strong. Feel good? I scrambled to my feet, refusing to back down. You kissed me. What's the big deal if I touch you a little? It's not like you'll lose a chunk of flesh. He went silent again, walking over to the window and opening it. Only then did I notice the faint smell of smoke in the room. Look what she's done to the poor kid. If there's a misunderstanding, just talk it out. She can't have gone far. You can still clear the air. Nick's dark eyes stared at me, and there was an unnerving quality to his gaze. Is that how you operate? Pushing your own boyfriend towards someone else? Does a fake one even count? After his sister-in-law's visit, Nick's phone started ringing off the hook. He didn't seem to mind, just letting it ring over and over. After the 13th time, I finally snapped. Can we please put that on silent? Nick glanced at me. You answer it. I did. Nick, I lost my ID and can't buy a plane ticket. I'm at the airport, and I'm so tired and hungry. Can you come pick me up? What was I supposed to say? I looked to Nick for guidance, but he completely ignored me. I decided to improvise. Nick's asleep. The other end went dead silent. 3 seconds later. Another high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. I hung up. Finally, some peace and quiet. A second later, my phone rang. Oh, it's mine. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a familiar voice came through. Han. I hung up instantly. He called again. I was getting really annoyed. Nick raised an eyebrow. Want me to get that? Go ahead. Nick answered, saying a simple hello. I couldn't hear what the other person said, but I saw Nick chuckle. Who else would be answering her phone? She just fell asleep. She's tired. We'll invite you to the baby shower. Bye. Talking nonsense really worked. My phone didn't ring again. Thanks. My mood soured a little. I'd quit my job and come home partly because I was unhappy at work, but the main reason was to avoid someone. My boyfriend, Ryan. The only reason he'd gotten together with me was to get back at his childhood best friend on her behalf. Because she didn't like me, she'd told Ryan to pursue me, and then, once I'd fallen for him, dump me. I can't forget the day I showed up with a cake to celebrate his birthday. His childhood friend was lounging on the sofa I'd picked out for him, disdainfully cutting up the shirt I'd bought him and tossing it in the trash. He came to me later, admitting it started that way but swearing he'd genuinely fallen for me and had no intention of going through with the plan. Fine, I could get past the beginning. But what about later? He knew I couldn't stand her, yet he let her hang around the home I had decorated for him all the time. Throwing away my things. Cutting up the clothes I bought for him? Did he have any sense of priority, of who was close to him, of who his actual girlfriend was? Who needs that? There are plenty of other fish in the sea. After my grandma went to bed, I tiptoed outside for a late-night emo session. I couldn't deny the heartache. We were together for a year. I'd given him my whole heart. I was already thinking about marrying him. I picked a pomegranate off a nearby tree. It was so sour it brought tears to my eyes. I wiped them away and saw a dark figure standing in front of me. What the? The figure clapped a hand over my mouth. A clean, sandalwood scent filled the air. Don't scream, it's me. Tears streamed down my face. Was I trying to scream? What are you doing sneaking around in the middle of the night, trying to give someone a heart attack? Maybe it was the shock, or maybe all the pent-up frustration had finally found an outlet, but I started sobbing uncontrollably. It was the first time I'd ever seen Nick look so helpless. I really didn't mean to scare you. I've been standing here for a while, you just didn't notice me. My bad. I'll give you a raise. I'll buy you barbecue. You can pick whatever you want, okay? If you keep crying, you're going to wake up your grandma. I stopped crying. I want the raise, and I want the barbecue. All right, Your Highness. He smiled, and his eyes glittered like stars in the dark night sky. My mood shifted as quickly as it had come. I found myself staring. Nick, I didn't know you could smile. It's actually really nice. His deep gaze fixed on me. Late night, a single man and a single woman. Even with the cool breeze, I felt a sudden flush of heat. I pushed down my fluttering heart. Are we getting that barbecue or not? Nick and I both had a few drinks. I'm a lightweight and not the most graceful drunk. Once I had a little too much, I let loose. Ryan, you're a giant jerk. A total bastard. You and your little childhood sweetheart can go rot together. I hope you're impotent on your wedding night and forever after. I, Hannah, am officially over you. I shouted until I had no energy left, then swayed and fell into a warm embrace. Nick put his jacket around me. I looked at him for a long time, then reached up and squished his cheeks. All the good-looking ones are jerks. He wrapped his arm around my waist, lifting me up slightly. Who's better looking, me or your ex? I guess you're a little better looking. Then remember this, guys as good looking as me are very loyal. I don't believe you. Want to test it? Test what? My brain wasn't working. I didn't get it. I just knew he was different tonight. The streetlight was just behind him, backlighting him. And with the alcohol, his lips were a vivid red, his eyes glistening. He was incredibly alluring. On impulse, I gave him a quick peck on the lips and grinned at him. Hannah. His hand on my waist tightened slightly. There's a saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I must have been dreaming. Why would Nick kiss me? Nick carried me back. As we reached his house, someone called my name. Hannah. I mumbled a reply and looked up, but Nick pushed my head down. You're dreaming. Go to sleep. Oh. I was so tired. I drifted off into a deep sleep. When I opened my eyes the next day, I was in Nick's bed. Thankfully, I was alone. Thankfully, my clothes were still on. I tiptoed out of the room, shoes in hand, and saw Nick lounging on the sofa, watching me. Morning. His gaze was intense as he pointed to his own neck. Hannah, you're sober now. Are you just going to pretend nothing happened? I remembered everything. All too clearly. While we hadn't done anything truly scandalous last night, I had definitely put him through the ringer. It was so embarrassing. You're a grown man. Couldn't you have resisted a little? Weren't you the one who made the first move? I was drunk. So being drunk means you're not responsible? He had a point. Hannah, we. A loud banging on the door cut him off. Nick's face soured with annoyance. Outside stood the last person I wanted to see. Ryan. He started to say Han, but stopped short, his gaze darkening as it fixed on Nick's neck. Ryan lunged without warning. I yelped and jumped in front of Nick, only to be pulled aside by Nick himself. In the end, Ryan's fist never landed. He just stared at me, his eyes burning. You're protecting him. Shouldn't I protect my boyfriend? Or should I be protecting you? Ryan, we broke up a month ago. His eyes turned red. I never agreed to it, so it doesn't count. After a moment, he added, you won't even give me a chance. It's not fair. And what about me? You had so many chances, but you never stood up for me against your childhood friend. This is the result of your choice. Ryan, let's just end this cleanly. Don't make it ugly. Nick, let's go inside. Hannah, you hate me for lying to you, but do you even know the person you're with now? Do you know who he is? Do you know how much he's hidden from you? Do you really think he's any better than me? Nick suddenly turned, a chilling, predatory look in his eyes that I had never seen before. Ryan didn't leave. He was standing at my front door with all his bags when my grandma and I went out. Grandma, it's me, Ryan, he said with a warm greeting. My grandma's eyes lit up. She nudged me. You silly girl, why didn't you tell me Ryan was here? Ryan shot me a smug little smile. It's not Hannah's fault. I wanted to surprise you. When my grandma was in the hospital, Ryan had visited, bustling around and being more attentive than her own granddaughter. He was a charmer and had completely won her over. When she was discharged, she had already decided he was her future grandson-in-law. Grandma might not hesitate to give me a smack, but she couldn't handle emotional shocks. So, I never told her that Ryan and I had broken up. Ryan clearly knew this and was using it to his advantage. Knowing I'd kick him out if he was alone, he stuck to my grandma like glue, and I couldn't get rid of him. That evening, my grandma cooked a huge feast for Ryan. I kept shooting him dirty looks, but he completely ignored me. I was so mad I kicked him hard under the table. To make matters worse, Nick texted me right then. On strike? I wasn't in the mood to reply. Later, you can clear out the guest room for Ryan to sleep in, my grandma said. He can get a hotel. My grandma didn't object. Then she asked, so when are you two planning on getting married? Ryan glanced at me and pulled a small box out of his pocket. Alarm bells went off in my head as he dropped to one knee. Hannah, I've been thinking about this since I got here. I was wrong about everything before. I promise, I'll never make you sad again. Will you marry me? I felt like I was going to throw up last night's dinner. My face was cold and hard. I was about to pull him aside to talk privately when the front gate creaked open. I turned my head and almost didn't recognize the man standing in the doorway as Nick. He'd had his hair done and was wearing a suit, a far cry from his usual lazy, casual style. He looked proud and distinguished, and he was carrying a pile of expensive health supplements. And that's when Ryan forced the ring onto my finger. Nick saw it. His eyes met mine, and they were dark and lifeless. My grandma slapped her thigh. Oh, I completely forgot about him. She bustled into the kitchen to get another set of bowls and chopsticks. I took the chance to give the ring back to Ryan. He refused to take it, and I insisted he take it back. If no one wants it, give it to me, Nick said, reaching for it from my hand. Ryan immediately snatched it back. With the ring in his hand, he looked at me, then at Nick, his face turning black. You son of a bitch, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Just then, my grandma came out, and the little drama came to an end. After dinner, my grandma went to visit a neighbor, leaving the three of us alone. I had just started washing the dishes when Ryan came up behind me. Let me do that. I had just said fine when Nick, who had been leaning against the doorframe, spoke up. Do you have any cold medicine? He had taken off his suit jacket at some point and was now just in a dress shirt. Narrow waist, broad shoulders, it really showed off his figure. It's in my room. Ryan dropped the dishes and followed me. But just as he was about to enter my room, Nick blocked him, pushed him out, and then closed and locked the door. Ryan started pounding on the door in a rage. "Nick, are you doing this on purpose?" "What if I am?" he said, so brazenly it was impossible to argue. Ryan was relentless, far more difficult than Nick's sister-in-law. If this was a way to make Ryan give up, I was all for it. After what felt like an eternity, I heard my grandmother's voice from outside. I shot up. I hadn't even dealt with Ryan yet. If my grandma found out Nick and I were in my room together, who knows what would happen? I struggled to get up, but Nick pushed me back down. "What are you doing?" I whispered, pointing outside. "As long as you're quiet, Grandma won't know we're in here." "You think Ryan's a mute?" "He won't tell." The room was dark, and in the dim light, I couldn't read his expression. I listened quietly to the conversation outside. Sure enough, Ryan didn't rat us out. He just said we had gone out. Wow. I smiled at Nick. He must have thought I wanted to talk, because he sat up and leaned down to my level. His warm breath ghosted across my face. My heart started pounding uncontrollably, and for a moment, I forgot to pull away. In the courtyard, my grandma and Ryan were chatting, their voices drifting in occasionally. There was no getting out now. I never asked, "What exactly is wrong with you?" "Nothing." "If there's nothing wrong, what are you doing here?" "Hiding from someone." My interest was piqued again. "Hiding from your sister-in-law?" Nick gave me a meaningful look. "Is your mind always in the gutter?" "You knew? Didn't you?" Well, that conversation died. I was tired of sitting up, so I grabbed a pillow, leaned back, and found a comfortable position. "I'm going to take a nap. Wake me up when they leave." Nick didn't wake me. I opened my eyes, and it was the next day. My phone on the nightstand vibrated. I glanced at it. It was a reply from a company I'd sent my resume to, asking me to come in for an interview on Monday. After getting ready, I told my grandma about it. "Ryan left last night. I wish I'd known you two could have traveled together." My grandma said Ryan got a call last night, his expression changed drastically, and he rushed back to the city. I wasn't interested in his drama. I called Nick to tell him I was leaving and transferred his money back to him. I walked out with my suitcase, and there was Nick, waiting by his car at my gate. "Get in. You're giving me a ride to the bus station?" It wasn't until we were on the highway that I realized something was off. "You're going back too?" "No." My internal alarm bell started ringing. "Hey, you offered me the ride." "I'm not paying for gas." Nick didn't even bother to reply. 5 hours later, the car entered the main city and got off the inner loop. While waiting at a red light, I noticed Nick staring intently at something. I followed his gaze and then suddenly leaned in close. "Mr. Johnston?" Nick slowly turned his head, his expression unreadable. I gave a nervous laugh and pointed at the towering building in front of us. "Isn't that your company?" "That's right." The man next to me ran a company, big or small. I'd only found that out after I started working for him. Nick was silent for a moment. "Not anymore." "I get it. Family feuds over inheritance, brothers turning on each other, it happens all the time." Nick was the unlucky one who lost. Still, a fallen giant is still a giant. I knew that the moment he took me to dinner at this private kitchen. The food was amazing, the portions tiny. Nick told me to order whatever I wanted, and I didn't hold back, having the waiter bring out 3 rounds of dishes. Since he was treating, I made a polite offer as he handed his card to the waiter. "Want to come over for some tea later?" "No need." "Sorry, sir, your card was declined." Nick frowned, pulled out another card, and handed it over. Half a minute later, the waiter returned. This one was also declined. After 5 different cards failed, Nick fell silent. So did I. "I'll get it." "How much is it?" $7,888. My hand trembled as I opened my payment app, and I gasped. 7,800. What did we eat, unicorn meat? After I paid, the waiter shot Nick a disdainful look, as if he were some freeloader dining and dashing. I grabbed his arm and hurried out of there. You should accept the money. He still hadn't accepted the transfer I sent him that morning. Nick ignored my comment. Didn't you offer me tea? Put on the navigation. I quickly hopped into the passenger seat and directed him to my place. I own my apartment. It's a small 2-bedroom, about 750 square feet. It never felt small when I lived alone, but with Nick inside, it suddenly felt cramped. Make yourself comfortable. Nick remained standing, staring thoughtfully at a corner of my sofa. What's wrong? I followed his gaze and wished the floor would swallow me whole. My face turned beet red. I snatched the bra I'd tossed on the sofa, clutched it to my chest, and fled to my room. When I came back out, Nick was lounging on my small sofa, holding a glass of water in one hand and my graduation photo from the coffee table in the other. I didn't realize we were alumni. You went to a state too? That didn't seem right. A guy like Nick must have been a campus celebrity. I'd never heard a thing about him when I was in college. I was there for 2 years, then I went abroad. That's a shame. During my graduation year, some rich kid drove up in a Lamborghini to confess his love to someone. But his family didn't approve, and a bunch of bodyguards showed up and dragged him away. I always thought that kind of stuff only happened in novels, but I saw it with my own eyes. Nick's hand tightened around his glass. Did you get a good look at him? No, I just remember the long line of cars. It was quite a spectacle. But you don't know about it either? I thought you rich kids all ran in the same circles. Nick didn't answer. I don't know what memory my words had triggered, but his expression turned dark and gloomy. I didn't dare disturb him, so I just listlessly scrolled through my phone. Half asleep, I heard Nick call my name. Go sleep in your room. I grunted an "oh," got up, and walked to my door. Then I spun around. You're not planning on staying here, are you? Can't I? Of course not. Before I could get the words out, Nick crossed his legs. How many potatoes did I dig for your family? How many meals did I cook for you? How many bubble teas did I buy you? He made me sound like an ungrateful jerk. The guest room is yours. You can clean it up yourself. And one more thing. I poked my head out of my room. While you're staying here, you're cooking. The interview went well, and I got the job. Life got busy again. I just never expected to run into Nick's sister-in-law while grabbing coffee during my lunch break. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, but her expression soured in the next instant. You witch. You lured Nick to your place, didn't you? I went into full denial mode. I didn't, it wasn't me, you're mistaken. Don't try to deny it. She grabbed my shirt. Smell for yourself. You reek of him. What have you two been doing? Her voice was loud, attracting stares from everyone around us. I smiled sweetly. A single man and a single woman. What do you think we'd be doing? Having fun, of course, sister-in-law. I put extra emphasis on the last 2 words. That's just how I am. If you talk to me nicely, I'll respect you. If you cross the line, sorry, you won't get a single straight answer out of me. You. Oh, look, it's Nick. While she was distracted, I made a run for it. When I got home with groceries that evening, Nick was working in the living room. Since moving in, he rarely went out. He'd taken over my laptop and spent all day glued to it, making occasional phone calls. I collapsed onto the sofa. Damn capitalism. The moment the words were out, I remembered I was sitting next to a former capitalist. I ran into your sister-in-law today. He turned his head. Did she give you a hard time? Not really, but she keeps cornering me, and it's getting awkward. Maybe you should go talk to her? After dinner, I took a shower. When I came out, Nick was on the balcony, on the phone. He was perched on a high stool, one leg propped up casually, a cigarette between his fingers. The light from the city skyline caught the corner of his eye, giving him a more grounded, worldly look than usual. I found myself staring. Control your woman. Don't let her come near me. She's your woman. Nick's phone speaker was on loud. Even though I knew it was wrong to eavesdrop, the conversation was too juicy. I couldn't help but inch a little closer. Nick let out a cold laugh. Not mine, huh? Fine. If my girlfriend runs off, you can forget about getting married either. What girlfriend does he have? The person on the other end was just as surprised. You have a woman? The one from college? How far have you two gone? Did you seal the deal? You didn't knock her up, did you? Jacob. The other person laughed. It's been years. You've been holding out this long? So, Nick has had a crush on some girl since college. Then why is he staying at my place? A wave of irritation washed over me. I made a noise, and Nick's eyes flicked over to me. He abruptly ended the call and started walking toward me. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I didn't know why I was panicking, as if walking away any slower would reveal some hidden secret of mine. Hannah. He knocked on my door. I hid under the covers, forcing a light tone. Whatever it is, can we talk about it tomorrow? He actually stopped knocking. I felt a pang of disappointment. Just then, my phone rang. It was Ryan. Back home, he was always clinging to my grandma, so I'd unblocked his number just in case something came up. I'd forgotten to block him again. Hannah, Grandma said you were back. Why didn't you tell me? I would have picked you up. I don't need you to. Are you mad that I left so suddenly? Jessica had appendicitis, I had to go. Jessica, always Jessica. Why is she still haunting me even after I broke up with Ryan? I wouldn't care if you went off and married her. My shouting stunned him into silence. Then he said, there's something I think you should know. Nick went to the same college as you. He had a crush on someone back then. Hannah, don't let him fool you. I hung up and blocked his number. I couldn't sleep. I mindlessly scrolled through my social feed. An hour ago, Jessica had posted something. It was a selfie of her in the passenger seat, holding a bouquet of flowers. Also in the shot was a girlfriend seat sticker with a little yellow duck I had drawn myself. The caption read, headed home. Thanks to my good friend for taking care of me day and night. It was obvious who had picked her up. I deleted her from my contacts, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. Nothing was going to get in the way of me going to work tomorrow. Making money was the most important thing. I don't know if this month was just cursed or what. I had to work late, and it was pouring rain. As if that wasn't enough. How did Ryan find my new office address? Wasn't I clear enough last night? He got out of his car and ran over with an umbrella. I'll take you home. No, thanks. You'll never get a cab in this rain. Really, I'm fine. Hannah, you should get in the car. It's cold out. You'll catch a cold. Jessica got out of the car. She was dressed impeccably and looked much more refreshed than I did after a long day of work. Don't get the wrong idea. I just ran into her on the road and offered her a ride, Ryan explained. He didn't see Jessica shoot me a smug look from behind him, then cough dramatically, clutching her right side and letting out a soft groan. Ryan immediately turned to her. What's wrong? I think I caught a chill. Get back in the car. I'll take you to the hospital. Only then did Ryan remember I was still there. He looked at me apologetically. See? He says he won't let me down, but the moment his childhood friend has the slightest issue, his priorities shift. But I was long past caring. Someone's coming to pick me up. You guys go on to the hospital. Ryan didn't move. Jessica coughed even harder. Just then, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, followed by a clap of thunder. Ryan knew I was afraid of thunderstorms and instinctively reached for my hand, but someone else got there first. It was Nick. He pulled me into his arms, holding an umbrella with one hand, his dark eyes melting into the night. "Are you cold?" I hadn't felt it before, but now that he mentioned it, I was a little chilly. He handed me the umbrella, took off his jacket, and draped it over my shoulders. "Let's go. What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you when we get home." "You two are living together?" Ryan asked, looking at me with a wounded expression. I didn't answer. Neither did Nick. "Nick?" Jessica broke the silence. She looked at me, then at Nick, like some innocent little girl. "Nick, what a surprise to see you here. Are you and Hannah roommates?" Jessica had called me Hannah, Miss Sue, and even Senior, but never Hannah. I saw her fanning her tail feathers at Nick like a peacock in heat, and I knew exactly what was going on. Ha! She wants to steal anything and anyone even remotely connected to me. By the way, Hannah, I'm so sorry. I should have been clearer before. Ryan and I have a purely platonic relationship. I see him as a brother. Please don't be mad at him. He's been drinking himself into a stupor over you. Besides, I already have someone I like." She blinked and pushed Ryan toward me. "Ryan, what are you waiting for? Take Hannah home." Ryan immediately said, "Let me take you home." "Nick, can I get a ride with you? The rain is so heavy." I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. Jessica's expression froze. "Nick." Sorry, Nick's voice was cold. "I'm not interested in girls with ulterior motives." Also, Nick said, enunciating each word, "I don't know you, and I have no desire to. And Hannah and I aren't roommates. We live together." It was the most satisfying thing I'd ever heard. So much so that before I got in the car, I kindly suggested to Jessica, "If all else fails, I don't think it's your appendix you need to get removed." On the way home, I was in a great mood, humming a song. That happy? Of course. You have no idea how infuriating Jessica was when I was with Ryan. But because they were childhood friends, Ryan never saw her little games. It was always my fault. Seriously, can you guys not see it? Or do you just pretend not to know? Nick pondered for a moment. I can't speak for others, but I can see it. So what do you think of Jessica? Nick looked at me seriously. She's not as cute as you, not as pretty as you, and definitely not as genuine. I much prefer your personality. My face turned beet red. He said he liked my personality, but my brain rounded it up to he likes me. But my elation lasted less than 3 seconds before I remembered. He already liked someone else. Don't fall for it. You'll only get hurt. When we got home, Nick's sister-in-law was standing at my door, soaking wet. What is with today? Is it reunion with all exes and their admirers day? I gave her a towel, turned on the heat, and pulled up a small stool to watch the show. Nick seemed to have reached his breaking point. Do you have any idea what my brother would think if he knew you were here in the middle of the night? We're divorced. Was he not good to you? He was. Did you two not consummate the marriage? We did. Is my brother not rich enough for you? Not handsome enough? He is. Then why are you throwing away a perfectly good man to chase after me when I'm not even interested? His sister-in-law fell silent. I have a girlfriend. Do you know what that makes you? A homewrecker. She had lost all her previous arrogance, biting her lip as she stammered, I'm not a homewrecker. So, are you planning on joining us? Sorry, my energy is limited. I only serve my girlfriend. His sister-in-law sputtered for a moment, then stood up, indignant. It's just one man. What's the big deal? I'm never coming to you again. In fact, I'm getting back with your brother. And as the elder sister-in-law, if she ever tries to marry in, I'll make her life a living hell. Fine by me. Nick pulled out his phone, his voice low. Did you hear that? She wants to get back with you. Come get your wife. You've been on the phone this whole time? Nick raised an eyebrow, non-committal. His sister-in-law shrieked, grabbed her bag, and ran off without looking back. I gave him a thumbs up. You're a menace. Later that night, Nick's brother, Jacob, arrived. He was a well-mannered, gentle person, the complete opposite of Nick. Miss Sue, may I borrow a set of your clothes? Sure. I found a clean set and handed them to him. Jacob took them. I'll treat you to dinner next time. Mr. Johnston, I called out, glancing at the person behind me and lowering my voice. Maybe you could take him with you? Jacob smiled. Our parents divorced a long time ago and have their own families. We don't live together. Besides, I have some family matters to attend to, so it's not convenient. I'm sorry. Work was busy, and I was leaving early and coming home late. Nick was also rarely around these past few days. Finally, the weekend arrived. My grandma called to ask about Ryan and me. I told her we broke up, just saying it was amicable without going into details, afraid of upsetting her. My grandma was silent for a moment but was surprisingly cheerful. She even encouraged me to try blind dates, to meet more people, and that I'd find someone suitable eventually. I agreed enthusiastically, grabbed a throw pillow, and lay down on the sofa. Just then, the front door opened. Nick, who had been gone all night, was back. He looked like he hadn't slept, with dark circles under his eyes. When he saw me, he said, "Hannah, can you help me with my tie?" My grandma went silent on the other end of the line. Nick didn't even look at me. By the way, did you wash the pants I left in the bathroom the other night? To clarify, I had just tossed them in the washing machine out of convenience. I shot up from the sofa like a coiled spring and slapped a hand over his mouth. My grandma's booming voice came through the phone. That voice. Is that Mr. Johnston's grandson? Did you lure him to your place? I was mortified. No. I heard everything, don't lie to me. Just tell me, did you break up with Ryan because of him? No, Ryan, I couldn't bring myself to say it. Alright, as long as it's not because of him. It's your life, you make your own decisions. But a man and a woman living together. Remember to protect yourself. Tell him to use protection. I'm off to my card game. She hung up abruptly. I still had to explain that Nick and I weren't a couple. Your grandma's funny, Nick said, leaning down. His eyes held a flicker of emotion. Help me. I was so annoyed I shoved him away. He stumbled back, slightly stunned. Nick, you heard me on the phone. Why would you say something so misleading? Does it bother you? Yes, it bothers me a lot. Why are all men like this? They already have someone they like, so why do they still flirt and act all ambiguous? Do they have any concept of boundaries? Nick and I had a falling out. Even living under the same roof, we somehow managed to perfectly avoid each other every day. If it weren't for the meals he left for me, I would have thought I was living alone. And Jessica, ever since she met Nick, started showing up more often. She even promised to keep her distance from Ryan. Now you know how to be respectful. What about before? Whatever. Not my problem. Work was more important. I just never expected Jessica to follow me all the way home. And she had the audacity to taunt me. Hannah, your new boyfriend doesn't seem to love you that much. I ignored her. Otherwise, how could you not know he's been in the hospital these past few days? Nick was in the hospital? You really didn't know? I opened the door and went inside, not letting Jessica follow. I pushed open the door to the guest room. It was dark. Nick was lying quietly in bed, his face pale. On the nightstand were some stomach pills and a glass of water. It looked like he'd already taken his medicine. I placed my hand on his forehead. He wasn't hot. I turned to leave, but he suddenly grabbed my hand. "Hannah," he rasped, his eyes red. "Did I wake you? Are you feeling better? Should I call your girlfriend?" "Which girlfriend? You have more than one?" Nick suddenly laughed. "Yeah, one outside, one in here." "Happy now?" Realizing he was just trying to get a rise out of me, I struggled to pull away, but he held on tight, pulling me toward him. I braced my hand on the bed to keep from falling completely on top of him. "Hannah, Jessica came to see me. She said she likes me." I hated Jessica so much. It all started back in sophomore year during a dance competition. She begged me to go easy so she could win first place to impress a guy she liked. But I wanted to win too, so I didn't. That's why my relationship with Ryan was doomed from the start, and it spiraled into something irreparable. In that moment, all my reason vanished. My words were sharp. "If you think it's a good idea, go ahead and say yes." "Hannah." I yanked my hand hard, broke free, and turned to leave. The next second, I was falling into Nick's arms. He flipped us over effortlessly, his hands hovering just above me, his eyes filled with a dark, mocking fury. "Do you have a heart? Haven't I been good to you? Can't you tell when I'm just trying to make you mad? I had so many places I could have gone, why did I have to go to?" He closed his eyes. "Do you really think I'm that bored? That I'd spend my days hiking up mountains with you, cooking for you, going shopping for bubble tea with you? And even live under the same roof as you? You don't like me? You're bothered by being associated with me? Then why did you let me kiss you when you were drunk? You were into it too, weren't you?" The flood of information left me stunned. Nick liked me? He liked me. He actually said he liked me. "Hannah, I should have been tougher," he said, leaning down to kiss me. "Wait." I pressed my hands against his chest. "Then. What about your girlfriend?" He laughed, exasperated. "Use that clever brain of yours. Who else is there besides you? So this whole time, I was the only one misunderstanding and feeling miserable?" He moved to kiss me again. "But why didn't you just say so? Haven't I?" He had, actually. I shrank back a little. "I thought you were joking." "My fault?" He smirked. "Then let's make this official. You won't think I'm joking then." It turns out, in some areas, no matter how many romance novels a girl reads, it can't compare to a guy's natural talent. I was getting overwhelmed, but I was also excited. My protests were half-hearted. "We could make a baby." "We won't." "Open it." He pressed a small packet into my hand. My face was burning. "When did you? You should listen to your grandma." Then I remembered something else. Jessica's still outside. Want me to let her in? The next morning, I struggled to get out of bed. Looking at Nick, who didn't have to clock in for work, I got increasingly annoyed and gave him a kick. In the novels, the guy always gets up and makes the girl breakfast. Nick's gaze seemed a little unfocused, and his face was even paler than last night. I'm still a bit out of it. I had forgotten he was still sick. "Should we go to the hospital?" He gave me a look. "If you don't leave now, you're not going to make it to work." I chickened out and scurried away. When I came out after getting ready, breakfast from my usual spot downstairs was on the table. And as I was leaving, he grabbed his coat and followed me out to drive me to work. After getting together with Nick, I realized his stomach was genuinely weak. He couldn't miss a single meal. If I didn't know his habit of eating even the most disgusting food without a change in expression, I would have thought he was just a picky eater. "Did you used to have an irregular eating schedule?" It was fine. A fleeting shadow crossed his eyes, but I missed it. "You have to eat, no matter how busy you are." After that, I asked around and finally found a good traditional Chinese medicine doctor. That weekend, Nick and I drove out of the city. The doctor was famous, so there was a long line. It was late afternoon by the time we were heading back. On the way, his phone rang several times. "Can you get that for me?" "Sure." I answered and put it on speaker. Jacob's gentle voice came through. "You're not coming back." "We'll see." "You should come back. Mom's here too. It's better than you bringing your girlfriend to see her alone." "Bye." I asked, confused. "You didn't tell me you were supposed to go back today." "If I'd known, we could have postponed our trip. It's nothing important, just a dinner at my dad's house." His grip on the steering wheel tightened, the veins on the back of his hands standing out. At a red light, he turned to me, his expression serious. "Do you want to come with me?" "Sure." After things get serious between a couple, meeting the parents is the natural next step, right? But I didn't prepare anything. It's not good to go empty-handed. "Do we have time? Should we go shopping for some gifts for your family first?" I was a little worried. I had no idea what the standard for gift giving was for a wealthy family. My mom is very difficult to get along with. Nick seemed a little nervous, his long fingers clenching and unclenching. I laughed, teasing him. "How difficult? The kind who throws money at me and tells me to get lost?" He visibly relaxed and smirked. "That's a definite possibility. We're both broke. A free ATM sounds great, right? Your mom's not stingy, is she?" Nick's dark eyes met mine, quiet and cool. But in the next second, a crack appeared, as if a light had broken through the darkness. He let out a low laugh. "Then you better ask for a lot. I'm very expensive." The Johnston family villa was in a quiet, secluded area far from the city. From the moment I stepped inside, I couldn't help but think that some people are born in Rome, while ordinary people like me have to start working from the Stone Age just to afford a house like this. "You're back. And you brought your girlfriend. Come in, come in." "My dad," Nick introduced. "Hello, Uncle," I said, quickly handing him the tea I'd brought. I came in a hurry and didn't have much time to prepare. "This is just a small token. Just having you here is enough. It's the thought that counts. Oh, and take this. It's a little something from me." His dad must have just gotten home. He hadn't even taken off his coat and was still holding a bag. When he pulled out 5 or 6 gold bars and pressed them into my hands, I was stunned. Are rich people's gifts always this extravagant? He just hands out gold bars? This has to be worth tens of thousands. The poor tea I bought was expensive, but in comparison, it felt a little inadequate. My dad loves giving out gold bars. Jacob and I have gotten plenty since we were kids. "Just take them," Jacob said, leading Nick's sister-in-law down the stairs. I handed them the gifts I had picked out. His sister-in-law huffed and ignored me. Jacob took them and thanked me, then apologized. "Sorry, she and I are having a little tiff." "It's not about you." He'd already made an excuse for me, so I just smiled and let it go. "Well, look what the cat dragged in." The rhythmic click of high heels accompanied a sharp voice. The woman who entered had an air of elegance, and her features bore a striking resemblance to Nick's. Nick's father introduced her. Nick's mother. "Hello, Auntie. This is a gift for you." On the way here, Nick had told me his mother's favorite makeup brand, so I had splurged on a full set from the department store. His mother glanced at it but didn't take it. "What is this cheap stuff? You're bringing this here?" I hadn't expected Nick's mother to be so dismissive. I stood there, embarrassed. "Mom." Nick's tone was a sharp warning. Only then did his mother look at me, reluctantly taking the gift, only to hand it to the maid. "Here, you can have it." Now even Nick's father couldn't hold back. Just as he was about to speak, Nick's sister-in-law snatched the makeup. "This is expensive. If you don't want it, Mom, I'll take it." I was just about to buy some anyway. Nick's mom lost her composure. "Jacob, control your wife." "I can't even control you, Mom. How am I supposed to control her? You. That's enough, Nick's father said coldly. Nick brought his girlfriend home today. Everyone just calmed down. The drama finally subsided. I knew being a trophy wife in a rich family was hard, but I never imagined it would be this hard. Nick took me upstairs, gave me a laptop, and then went back down. I listlessly flipped through TV channels. After a while, there was a knock on the door. Nick's sister-in-law came in and sat down next to me, staring at me for a long time. Is there something on my face? I thought you'd be crying by now. I smiled. It's not that bad. But thank you for sticking up for me downstairs. It wasn't for you. She gave me the same hard time when Jacob and I first got married. I just can't stand her. But. She gave a smug smile. At least Jacob is his father's son. You're a different story. The old hag is a monster. Whether you can marry into this family is still up in the air. Back when you were chasing Nick, and then married his older brother, how did she not kill you? Humans are gossips by nature, and I'm no exception. My family is rich. She wouldn't dare be too hard on me. Thanks, that's not comforting at all. Later, the maid called us for dinner. As we went downstairs, I could faintly hear arguing. A word of advice: don't sit too close to the old hag. I didn't even have a chance to sit near her. Nick sat between us. 6 people at the table, dead silent. It was suffocating. I should have eaten something before I came. Try this soup. Just as Nick handed me the bowl, his mother tossed her spoon into it, the porcelain clashing with a jarring sound. Nick froze for a second, but his expression didn't change. Just drink it. Name your price. How much to leave my son? Is 5 million enough? Eleanor. Nick's father warned. This is my house. Don't go too far. I'm dealing with my son. What's it to you? You should worry about your own son. And her. Nick's mother shot a glare at his sister-in-law, who was diligently eating. She's as brainless as they come. I'm rubber, you're glue, his sister-in-law retorted lightly. Nick's mother's face instantly turned black. You're insane. Bounces right off me and sticks to you. In such a tense situation, I almost laughed out loud. But I wasn't laughing for long. His mother turned to me, her chin high. Name your price. How much will it take for you to leave my son? You should be asking me that, Nick said, slowly wiping his hands. What else do I have to do for you to stay out of my life? The sound of his chair scraping against the floor was deafening. I will not let her marry into this family. I can just marry into her family. His mother seemed stunned by his answer, staring blankly for a long moment before exclaiming, Are you trying to kill me? The way she looked, I fully believed she would threaten to kill herself. Her combativeness was far beyond what I had imagined. I was genuinely scared. All the witty comebacks I had prepared vanished. I just gently tugged on Nick's sleeve. He squeezed my hand back. His palm was ice cold. Honestly, for a second, I thought it might be better to just give up. Then I heard Nick say, Fine. Let's die together. We'll still be mother and son in the afterlife. You. Ever since I was a child, you've forced everything you like onto me. The schools, the university, my major, going abroad, even deciding the direction of my company. In college, I was too scared to even confess to the girl I liked. I was terrified you'd find out and do something to hurt her. When I came back, I finally had a chance, and what happened? You had me dragged back home. Now that I finally have another chance, you want to tear us apart again? Do I need you to arrange who I like? Why don't you just marry whoever you approve of? It would be easier. How am I even your son? I'm more like your puppet. I don't want the company anymore. I can walk away from this family too. You don't have to threaten me with your life all the time. Nick led me away. At the door, he threw one last line over his shoulder. If you don't want a wedding to turn into a funeral, go ahead and make a scene. Sitting in the car, I still hadn't calmed down. It wasn't just Nick's chaotic family and his overbearing, unreasonable mother. It was also what he had said. That guy who drove up in a Lamborghini my senior year. That was you? Yeah. Oh. My heart was pounding. The answer was right in front of me, but I was afraid to be sure. It was Nick who spoke up. Ask whatever you want. Was it me? Yeah. But why? He pinched my nose. You're beautiful, you get good grades, you're an amazing person. Is it a problem that I like you? That's not what I was asking. We never really interacted, did we? We did, he said, his eyes on me. The dance performance in our sophomore year. Your music had an issue, and I played the piano for you. I remembered. After I'd refused Jessica's request, right before I went on stage, my accompaniment track messed up. I was about to just dance in silence when the host told me a guy who played piano happened to know the song and could accompany me. My first thought at the time was, this piano guy is really good. When I got off stage and changed, I wanted to thank him, but he was nowhere to be found. But your mother. Is she always like that? Pretty suffocating, right? Is your stomach problem related to her? Yeah. Nick frowned. My parents divorced early. She hadn't remarried yet and was raising me alone. Whenever I didn't listen to her, her go-to punishment was to lock me up without food. Over time, it just got like this. My heart ached for him. No one should treat their child like that. Hannah, are you sure you want to be with me? I have nothing now. Didn't we agree to let your mom throw money at me so we could spend it together? He pulled me into his arms. I think I'd rather earn it for you myself. By the way, I didn't see Mr. Johnston. My mom causes a scene every time she comes to the house, so he moved out. I'll take you to see him another day. I picked a day and brought Nick home to meet my parents. They were both very happy with him. That weekend, he went with me to the city to buy a necklace. It was my mom's birthday, and I wanted to get her something special. We wandered around and ended up in the ring section. See anything you like? I glanced at the prices and gasped. Good Lord, you could buy half a bathroom for that much. I laughed. Let's keep looking. All right. After looking at everything, I picked out a style I liked for a little over $50,000. This one. Nick agreed, paid for it, and we arranged a pickup date before leaving. I'm going to get a bubble tea. What do you want? I squinted and told him my order. Nick went to stand in line while I waited on a nearby bench. That's when Ryan showed up. He looked down at the jewelry store bag in my hand, his eyes dark. Are you two getting married? It was actually my mom's necklace. I hadn't even gotten my ring yet, but it wasn't far from the truth. I nodded. Soon. His eyes instantly welled up. Is there really no chance for us? None. He gave a bitter smile. There are still some things I want to say to you. I suddenly noticed how beautiful the day was. The leaves on the sycamore trees nearby had turned yellow, and the sunlight dappling through them was warm and golden. Nick had been watching us from a distance, a clear look of jealousy on his face. Suddenly, I felt a sense of release. I could finally talk to Ryan calmly about the past. 1 second. I ran over to Nick. Can I talk to him for a few minutes? Nick pinched my cheek. Don't be too long. I'll be quick. Ryan and I talked right there. I only recently found out about what happened between you and Jessica in college. She told you? Yeah. Ryan's voice was low with emotion. And some other things. She told me everything. She did it on purpose. I'm sorry. I failed to balance things between you and her. It didn't matter anymore. Really, not even a tiny chance? I suddenly had an overwhelming desire to marry Nick. Ryan, if Jessica and I were both drowning, who would you save first? Ryan thought for a moment. Jessica. See? That's your answer. You choose her. But that's because you can swim and she can't. Does that matter? I answered for him. Sometimes, all I want is the gesture. If it really came down to it, you wouldn't have to save me. I'd pull her out myself. Ryan was completely speechless. I picked up my bag and stood up. My boyfriend is waiting for me. I have to go. Hannah, Ryan called after me. I wish you a happy marriage. When I got back, the bubble tea was still warm. Want some? 10 minutes. What? Nick snorted. Long enough to start a new relationship. This man's jealousy knew no bounds. I couldn't help but laugh, teasing him on purpose. I agree. We might even rekindle an old. Old what? Nick looked over, his eyes dangerous. I stuck the straw in his mouth. You should try this. This bubble tea isn't as sweet as you. When Nick and I got married, he put a diamond ring on my finger that I had never seen before. It was the size of a pigeon's egg, a teardrop-shaped, pure blue diamond. I have no resistance to shiny things, and I knew this was incredibly expensive. I whispered to him, this must have been hundreds of thousands, right? Not that expensive. I was relieved. I would occasionally take it out to wear. Your new company is just getting off the ground. Don't spend money recklessly. Then one day, I was out shopping with Nick's sister-in-law, and she said wistfully, that diamond ring should have been mine. Wait, is there some family drama I don't know about? Then she explained, the two brothers went to an auction together and bought 2 rings, one pink and one blue. Yours is prettier and more expensive. I can't believe Nick snatched it. How much more expensive? Mine was 60 million. Yours was 70. A full 10 million more. This wasn't a ring, it was a family heirloom. It needed to be enshrined. When I got home, I asked Nick about it. He was busy in his study and only looked up after a long while. He was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, which gave him a different, more serious vibe. The ring does have collector's value, but you don't need to put it on a pedestal. His company had only recently become profitable. Where did he get that kind of money? He heard my thoughts and just said, oh. Is it possible that I was already rich? So that time at the restaurant. You did that on purpose? Sometimes, you need a few tricks up your sleeve to win the girl. Later, I learned a few more things. Mr. Johnston told me. He said it was Nick's own idea to move to our hometown. It was also his idea to have Mr. Johnston hire a caretaker for him, and he had specifically asked for me. It turned out that, a long, long time ago, in a place I never knew, he had already loved me for a very long time. And I was lucky that, after all the unhappiness, I still got to find you.